are a lot of Monster Hunter fans out there. Everybody wants to know what you have added to this game, because it came out in Japan already, so there's a lot of fan base installed for this type of game. They've been waiting for it, they've been clamoring for it. What's new? What's unique this time?
There's a number of new things. I mean, this is based off of Monster Hunter 4G, which was the expanded version of Monster Hunter 4 in Japan. So content-wise, there's a lot of parity, but we do have a couple new special things that we revealed as well. So the Street Fighter Palicos, which we announced a few weeks ago, the Blanca and Chun-Li feline costumes, those are new for the US, so that's a brand new item. But the overall experience, if you're just coming from Monster Hunter 3 and you haven't really heard much about 4, it's a much more expanded and different experience than you've seen in 3. So one of the biggest new things to the game is, obviously, this is the biggest roster of monsters we've ever had. So if you like Monster Hunter, you'll like what we're offering here. But for the new stuff, we also have an expanded narrative this time around. So the storyline's actually a lot bigger. The quests you get in the game are delivered by NPCs, so you pick up those along the way. There's a bigger storyline in terms of the Gore Magala, which is our flagship monster, which we're showing off here. So you'll learn a lot more about that creature. There's a whole virus sub-story, so there's a lot going on there, and definitely a lot for fans to dig into.
It seems like there's a bigger emphasis on multiplayer. This is the first online multiplayer game in the Monster Hunter franchise for the 3DS, is that correct?
For 3DS, that's correct, yeah. So for the last one, we had local co-op with the 3DS. We also had online with the Wii U SKU, but we didn't have a full online portion just for 3DS. So this time around, we do have full online multiplayer, so you can play locally with your friends nearby. If you want to play online, just get on Wi-Fi, you can play with your friends across the internet.
One of the things that I noticed right away was the sense of pacing and the speed of the game seemed to be amped up a little bit, and it does feel a little more, with the C-stick functionality, a little bit more traditional action RPG control friendly. Is that something that was you guys were attempting to do with the title this time?
Yeah, I mean, the C-Stick definitely adds a new layer of functionality for us, and I think the additional camera controls, I mean, it's definitely an improvement, I think, based on the previous version of the 3DS. Tuning and pacing of the game is always something we look at specifically for each territory, so, we want to make sure that it feels right for a Western consumer as well as for a Japanese consumer. So we always look at that when we're localizing the content and bringing it over overseas.
This is a massive game, and it almost feels a little incongruous on a system that is portable, that you'll be playing on a bus or on a subway train or an airplane or something. Yeah. How do you temper that? How do you make sure that it feels massive, it delivers all the goods, but it is also something that you can just pick up and play and jump into and get something from in quick little bursts?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the best things about Monster Hunter is that while the scale of the game overall is this massive, massive experience, there's hundreds of hours of content, you can play it in really digestible chunks, right? So the game is very quest-based. Those quests can be done in like 20 minutes. I myself just started playing the full version. We finally got code. And I've already put in 40 hours, and it doesn't really feel like I sunk in 40 hours of my life into the game. I'm playing a 20-minute quest as I watch a TV show, put it down, come back later, and the time does accrue, and you definitely sink a lot of time into it, but it doesn't really feel as though you're like really investing as much in it because the game is so digestible, and you can do it in chunks and just play as you want.